We're in Indianapolis. There's literally a party going on outside. It's not even noon, I don't think. But we're joined by Megan Gailey, proud daughter of Indiana. Indiana.
I ride hard for Indy, Indiana.
Not so
slightly less.
I'm sort of loving it, to be honest. There's a lot of space. You can walk everywhere.
Anytime I come to these cities, I like to lean on the locals to tell me where's the spots to go, what are the fun things to do, and so.
It is a town that has a great airport.
Yes.
It really prides itself on hosting large-scale events.
Right.
And especially in the sports area, Final Four, always, the Indy 500. I guess I feel a little better to hear you don't like most Midwestern cities. I love Midwestern cities because I love an inferiority complex.
Oh.
Like when you're talking to people, they're like, sorry you're in Indy. Let me buy you a drink. Like we come to it feeling like we know you don't want to be here.
Yeah.
I brought pastries.
I know.
Did any of your other guests bring shit?
No.
You know, I'm like, I need you guys to like it. So I'm going to go above and beyond because I know you don't want to be here.
You know, it could be, I could like it here and identify with that because I'm from Boston.
Yeah.
And so just the inferiority complex being compared to New York, it was just everybody was always ready to fight somebody.
Yeah.
So
your Boston inferiority complex is much more hostile.
It's much more hostile
than the Midwestern inferiority complex.
Everyone here is so kind.
Very kind.
Charlotte won't shut up about it.
Very kind.
Last night at dinner, you're like, oh, the waiter was just kind of like, hey, can I get you guys something? Oh yeah, I got you, no problem. And he walks away and Charlotte's like, oh my God,
yeah.
the Midwestern
I'm sorry.
hospitality.
You try going out to dinner in New York City,
they're mad at you.
Here's your food, fuck you.
Yeah.
Get
And
out
you're
of
sitting
here.
on top of someone. Here you really do have space. Even in Los Angeles when I go out to eat, it's like I've got someone who is on 7 seasons of NCIS serving me who's livid. And it's here. It's like their dream is to bring you a steak.
They would, they would love nothing more than to make sure you get your mashed potatoes.
Do my pants fit? No, that's why I'm in a full sweat outfit right now. I washed my jeans before coming, and then I was like, this was a mistake. I've been eating terribly since being here.
Listen, I think we need to convince Amin.
I grew up in New York, and we hated Indiana. We
Yeah.
hated Reggie Miller. We hated that guy, that stupid guy with the sign.
Love that guy.
Yeah.
Charlotte, in the 90s, the Pacers played in Market Square Arena, was the old building. And when they would have the ball or whatever in the fourth quarter of big games, they would play IndyCar racing noises, and it just and it was the most annoying sound. It's Dumb and Dumber. You want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
It's also loud.
Loud as shit.
Yeah.
I never once thought about there are people over there that actually like that shit. Did you like that shit?
Loved it.
Oh my God.
Loved it. But I understand you. I share a birthday with Michael Jordan. And, grew up loving 90s basketball, and people were like, that's amazing. I'm like, I hate Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan ruined my childhood. The Pacers would have rings if it wasn't for Michael Jordan. And now I have an appreciation for him after watching The Last Dance, because I was like, oh, he's mean in the way that I'm mean. And so I like him now.
He keeps score the way I keep score?
He's petty.
Amazing.
He's petty, and so am I.
Yeah.
We're not so different, you and I.
So maybe we are birthday twins, and, we may have the same Aquarius chart
I was going
happening.
to say it's a zodiac situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you so excited about the Pacers this year? What has it been like?
Beyond, a small market is, you guys didn't grow up having to deal with that. So a place like this, when someone becomes a star here, it's huge.
Yeah.
And we're used to losing our stars. And I totally understand that. It's like, I don't live here, so I get why Paul George didn't want to. People come here, they sort of make a name. Obviously, Reggie stayed the whole time. Someone like Tyrese, I think he really does like it here, and I think he's been such an ambassador for the team, which in a small market, the team is then a representation of the entire city. So with Anthony Richardson being the new face of the Colts, Tyrese being the new face, it's that makes people come downtown. There's these new, fun, young Black men succeeding in Indianapolis, and I think that's huge.
Yeah.
And so it's been so much fun. Tyrese also lives in my parents' neighborhood.
Stop it.
He's like behind an extra set of gates, so we don't get to drive by his house. But sometimes I will see his very specific car, and we wave to him. And I think he's just
It's an Astro van, by the way.
Yeah, I'll tell you what it is. It's like I realized it because I was watching on the NBA app, like a day in the life of Tyrese Haliburton. I am one of the people that clicks on that and watches that multiple times. And they were in his car and he drove by my parents' house.
Stop it.
I saw it
Stop
in the
it.
background. And I was like, that's my parents' house. And so I end up really, like, I'm not mad at Andrew Luck. I'm not mad at Oladipo. I'm not mad at Paul George. Like, I totally get when people want to leave here,
Right.
but I really want people to stay here. And we have to do that through trades and the draft. And now we've got this ambassador, I think, without doing any tampering, he's helping other guys be like, listen, you can get a massive house here.
Yeah.
And the games are selling out again. And it's just like a young, fun team that I love.
I think that's the crazy thing. It's one thing so we have a star player, right?
Yeah.
But it's another thing that we have a star player who, because of which we play probably the most fun style of basketball in the league.
Yeah.
They're up tempo, they score a shit ton of points.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that helps too. It's not just, hey, we've got a star player and we're good, but it's like, it's kind of boring.
They're putting on a show.
They're putting
They
on a show.
absolutely are. I mean, Obi Toppin seems happier here.
Yes.
And he's from New York.
100%.
But he's getting to play. Do we need a dog? Of course. And so I'm hoping that like a veteran wants to come in and really get down and dirty.
Oh my God, Marcus Smart.
I'm like, PJ Tucker seems upset.
Ooh,
you know?
PJ
Like,
Tucker's big mad out in...
and he's probably my number one NBA crush. So
Really? PJ Tucker?
I have a real, I'm always drawn to sneakerheads.
Oh,
Unfortunately,
yeah.
my husband has like 300 pairs of sneakers and it's the bane of my existence. I absolutely hate it. And then, but like, I do like a man with some style and some anger. You know, and that's what I like in
PJ
my
Tucker
athletes
has-
too.
I'm like, that's why you love basketball.
Absolutely. I fouled out of every game when I played basketball. And like youth girls basketball, scored 0 points, lit it up with fouls.
That's so metal.
They were like, she can't play contact sports.
Why does she have a helmet on? It's with a mouth guard or whatever. I love doing prediction talk.
Okay.
Right? So the Pacers, obviously before the trade deadline, they did a huge deal to get Pascal Siakam.
Yeah.
Which I think that's kind of their announcement of, hey, we're not content with just being.
They want to win now.
They want to win now.
Yeah.
So it's not quite there yet
No.
in terms of.
You don't think Doug
contending.
McDermott put us over the edge?
That feels like a name from Indianapolis.
Oh, yeah. He was like,
From
thank
the-
God.
I think he's from Iowa. He's from Iowa.
Yeah,
I
he
think,
loves corn,
which is
for sure.
Yeah.
the same shit.
It's-
Like,
well.
that's as a coastal elite. I'm like,
Of
same
course.
Shit. All of it.
And when I'll tell people I'm from Indy, and they're like, I have a friend from Cleveland. It's like 6 hours away. Happy to know them.
They call you a flyover state.
I
so
know.
Just look out the window, wave, and keep going.
You're going to leave Indy loving it by the time.
Am I?
Well,
All right, so predictions. Pacers, how good are they going to be this year?
Mhm.
And then how long do you think before it's like, hey, a finals trip, maybe even a championship?
I think them winning a playoff series this year would feel massive.
Right.
So if they could make it to the second round of the playoffs, I would be very, very happy. And then I think we would all be left wanting more.
Yeah.
Of like, that was great. That's not necessarily enough. I think the in-season tournament was helpful to get some of these guys some real playoff adjacent
The
experience.
exposure, right? Like the
Yeah.
idea that, hey, there's only one game that's happening right now
Yeah.
and the world is watching us.
Yes.
And the media crush and all
also, even before that, though, like when they played the Celtics and the TNT guys were like, well, this is only the second time Tyrese has been
in a
on
prime time.
TNT. It's like, how's that possible? And it's because the small market, so it gave it
Yeah, and he came from a small market.
Yeah.
So I think that this year, that's what I would love to see if they finish around like the 5 or 6 seed.
Wow.
No play in for us. I want no play in for us. I want us safely in. And then I think we are a piece away. And It's tricky because we've owned the Bucks this year, but it is the regular season.
We talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
Like on our wish list, we
Yeah.
want Pacers Bucks to happen.
Oh,
So badly.
Yeah, because it's sort of this low-key feud.
No, it's
of, like,
a real
these
rival.
two really sweet, like Tyrese and Giannis.
Yeah.
It's like, I would want both of you to babysit my child. You both seem like angels. Milwaukee versus Indy, like we would have to have like a nice off, and we would be doing like yo mama jokes, but it's like she's really beautiful. And so, I think we're a piece away, a defensive piece, unless Miles really like starts throwing some bows. I would love to see what we do in the offseason, but I do think Siakam was like a great indicator of like this ownership it does not really go after pieces.
Right.
And I think they see what they have and go, this is a time to do it. The East feels it's
Fluid.
crowded, but you
Fluid.
can break through.
Yeah.
And so I think one big piece in the off season, and I could see us in the Eastern Conference Finals next year.
Wow. I'm just imagining Tyrese like going by Giannis. He's like, oop.
Yeah.
Just sneak by you here.
I gotta walk through. Some of that is my husband's a Lakers fan, so like delusion rubs off, and so I hear him say crazy things
Like here's
that I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to dream big too.
Spencer Dinwiddie is the missing piece.
Oh,
like things like
gosh,
that.
of course. Spencer Dinwiddie of 5 years ago, maybe, but
It's a funny thing that you're a Pacers fan, your husband's a Lakers fan, your husband's a Knicks fan, she's a
Yeah.
huge Celtics fan, and
we've already had the conversation. He looked at me and he was like, if they're both in the Eastern Conference Finals, what are we gonna do?
Divorce.
And I was like, he was like, should I get a place for a week and a half?
Yeah,
or,
absolutely, he should leave.
Obviously the Lakers and the Pacers haven't been good at the same time in quite a while,
Yeah.
but how do you guys handle that?
Well, I'm a real fan. I've been a fan of the Pacers since I was born. And my husband became a Lakers fan when LeBron joined the Lakers. So we deal with it by he's not real. And I'm ride or die. So I make fun of him. And we let our son, I'm of the school of thought, if you want to have a Western Conference team and an Eastern Conference team, that's fine. We obviously live in Los Angeles. We live close to crypto. I get that he's going to like them, but I really do want him.
No. There's something very romantic about liking the team, like where your mom came from. Like
to be like,
make
why do you
him
like the Pacers?
Don't make him a Pacers fan.
He has a Reggie jersey.
Okay,
he has a Haliburton jersey, but then he also has like a lot of Lakers gear.
But you know what the funny thing is? Like I'm thinking about this kid, and I just in my mind, it's like when he's 10 years old, he's gonna go to school and, hey, what's your favorite team? Pacers. And I'm like, why are you a Pacers fan? And then I thought about what if 10 years from now, like Tyrese Haliburton has become the best player in the league,
Yes.
and the Pacers have become like this dynasty.
Yep.
And like if people ask, why are you a Pacers fan? It's like, oh, you're a bandwagon, of course. Like
No. He's like,
day one.
I'm a bandwagon, but my mom is not well. And the Pacers also, they love me. They send me merch. I have a good relationship with them. What did the Lakers send my husband? Nothing.
No.
So if my son wants free stuff, he's gotta.
You gotta follow the money.
He's gotta rock with the Pacers.
Follow the money.
I'm just
Yeah.
Megan, you brought us a bribe.
I brought you a bribe. Yeah, you could call it that. The Midwest teaches you never show up to someone's podcast empty-handed.
Oh my God.
So you got to bring stuff. I brought you some pastries from Patachou, which is a very famous indie, like female-owned, locally owned, great place. So we've got 2 cinnamon sugar scones.
Oh my God.
1 mini vegan chocolate, because I did know we had some coastal elites coming.
That's for me.
And then 3 croissants.
Oh my
too.
God. Croissant is my favorite. Hot dogs and croissants.
Do you like a corn dog?
Yes.
I love a corn dog.
I love.
And then they were like,
Midwestern.
do you want butter? And I was like, hell yeah, I want butter.
So
So,
you
then
brought-
there's a little bag of butter,
It's
too.
just a bag of butter.
Okay,
bag of
that's
butter.
the most Midwestern thing.
Bag
you
of
brought
butter.
us a bag of. Wow, it looks whipped.
It is whipped.
I love-
They packaged that.
Oh my God.
I watched
You
them.
need to. Are you gonna?
You know what? Let's see. I did
I want to try a little bit of everything. I don't.
Yeah,
like,
Okay. Oh my gosh,
That's a good croissant.
this is phenomenal. I love pastries so much.
Mm-hmm. You know what Indy does really well too? Ranch.
Ranch.
Some of the best ranch you'll ever have in your life is
Really?
here. Oh yeah.
I would dip a croissant in ranch.
Yeah. Like
That would be amazing.
ham and cheese
Like
dipped
ranch is ranch, right?
No. Nope. Spoken like a man who lives in Phoenix. A homemade ranch really can put you over the top.
It's ranch.
What's Phoenix culinary scene?
Tacos.
Tacos, okay.
You live in LA, so you probably feel the same way.
Great tacos.
If I leave those places and go like here, or even
Yeah,
New
yeah.
York, whatever, and someone's
No.
like, oh, let's go get Mexican. I'm like, I'm not getting
That's-
Mexican food here.
I know. I say that to my mom all the time.
It's impossible. You cannot tell me you have a good Mexican food anywhere,
No.
like in the Northeast. It would be like someone telling you that the ranch is amazing here. It just doesn't compute.
I just realized for a second there while you were talking, I completely blacked out because I was just thinking about the pastries. Thank you so much. These were unbelievable.
Awesome.
What do you miss about Indianapolis when you're in LA?
I miss how cheap it is.
Yeah.
I was out with like my best friend last night, and like a man poured me a drink that was like this, like a glass of wine,
Yeah.
and then gave it to me for free.
Just because.
And I'm like, that would never happen. Like, I do point at houses and just tell my husband how much they are. And I'm like, that house is $14, you know, that, and it really, I do miss that. I miss the kindness. LA is a city that's so built around one certain industry. And if you are not doing well in that one certain industry, it can kind of drive you insane. And here it's like, that's just not a factor. People are kind, you know? You'll get a blizzard at DQ and the woman will tell you, God bless you. And you're like, do I seem like I need that? Like it's really, they go above and beyond. And my parents are here and I wish that I had free childcare like all my friends do.
Yeah.
Got to. By the way, that's the biggest cheat code. When you have kids, you have to have either you or your significant other's parents there because you just have to, I'm here.
You're in Indianapolis right now, Amin.
Yeah, I was like, I'll be back in 5 days and I don't have to worry about anything. I don't have to check in or anything. I'm gonna come back and
You don't check in.
don't check in.
You don't check in. No, I mean, neither of our parents are in Los Angeles. And so there is a phrase that I have come to be very comfortable with since giving birth, though, which is there's no such thing as free help. So when my parents, my dad's not really doing a lot. When my mom is watching my kid, it's like, I also gotta kind of like manage what my mom needs. And like, I know she's going to book club being like, I'm exhausted. And so it's like, I'm having to buy her earrings and get her massages. I mean, she's telling book club that she's raising this child as a single mother and she's seeing him 2 days every 6 weeks, you know?
So this is the fun part, right? You said, oh, my dad isn't really doing much. When the kid gets older, your dad is going to be more involved, and let me just tell you, you're going to wish it was back when it's this, because I'm watching the Super Bowl with my kids.
Yeah.
Right? And kicker's about to kick and makes the kick, and my kid, one of my twins, says, laces out, and I said, how do you know that? Well, Grandpa made us watch Ace Ventura. I'm like, that's not a children's movie.
I disagree.
What are you doing?
That's what I said, Megan.
I think that's a very educational
That's
film.
not a children's movie.
Is your dad a big sports fan?
Oh, yeah. My dad played college football.
Okay.
People will ask like how I got into sports, and it's because I have 2 older brothers and I wanted my dad to love me the most.
Did it work?
It absolutely worked. My wedding was gorgeous. Like my wedding was way better than my brother's too.
You grew up in Indiana. You're obviously a huge Pacers fan.
Yeah.
You were here and then you left.
Yes.
You actually applied to work at the.
I did apply to work at the Children's Museum, didn't get the job. And then I started doing stand-up here, did it very, very briefly. The scene has changed like so dramatically. I probably would have stayed here if the scene then was like it is now. I knew someone who was very dumb who moved to Chicago, and I was like, if they can do it, I can do it. And the same thing happened with New York. It just like takes one person to be like, they can live there?
Yes.
Then I can totally do it. And so I kept kind of doing that. Lived in Chicago for 5 years, New York for 2, and then I've been in Los Angeles for 8. And that's the path.
I feel like being a stand-up comic. All my friends are stand-up comics. I always say to them, like, it's an insane thing to do.
Yeah.
Like working in comedy, cool. Standing up in front of a room full of strangers and saying, I hope they laugh at the things I'm about to say, I can't imagine what's the mentality it takes to want to do that. Not to do it, to want to do that.
Yeah. Well, you have to be mentally ill. And so that's sort of step one. And the mental illness needs to be like, not so grand.
Yes.
You've really got to like keep
There's
it.
a sweet spot of mental illness.
And then you move on to like the sweet spot of like narcissism. And so you kind of juggling all of those. And now I'm also a mom too. So to like be a mom and a stand-up comedian, they really don't naturally go together. And so I'm,
Has it changed how you do your comedy?
Absolutely.
How so? What's the...
A lot of diaper jokes now.
No, I luckily do not talk that much about his poop because I really think about he is going to see this, and I live in constant fear of that.
Also, more people should live in fear of that.
They
Hold
should.
on. Like, I love the idea that your child is going to grow up one day and is going to watch your content, but only the content you made after he was born. The stuff that mom was they telling jokes about before I was born, no, that didn't exist.
Well, but it would be about him.
Yeah, he has seen, I mean, he's like a baby, so he doesn't know what's going on. But like we've shown him like my late night sets.
Yeah.
And he definitely gets excited, says mama. He saw me do stand up in person for the first time 2 weeks ago and he rushed the stage. And then was like, pick me up, pick me up. Luckily it was like a show for babies. But yeah, I'm doing shows for babies. You know, that's how great my career is going right now. Dogs, babies. And I do worry about it. I talk a lot about like, I realized through being pregnant and having a child, a lot of people don't really know what goes into that. And so my set now ends up being kind of like a sex ed TED Talk without knowing that.
I've seen it, the Instagram post that you put up, and it's very funny.
Thank
and
you.
And also very informative.
Yeah.
Because it's no joke.
Had a notepad and like, oh.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay, so for children. No.
Nothing makes me happier than seeing men cringe as I'm talking about what my body went through. And it's usually guys that look like they like love UFC. And it's like, you can't listen to me talk about childbirth, you baby.
But you'll watch someone split their eyebrow open. Like,
you love cauliflower ear, but the process of a child coming into this world is too much for you?
So much like stand-up comedy, natural childbirth to me is like the craziest thing. Like you willingly had a human being come out of there.
It's insane.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it terrifies me. Would like to do it. But see, that's the thing. That's the thing about like stand-up comedy. You're like, I would like to do this. It's horrifying. And like, giving birth, I feel like is maybe...
The physics just doesn't make sense.
No, it really doesn't. And my son, he's 8 pounds. He was 8 pounds when he came out. But I'm from Indiana. You know, I was like, I'm built for this. Like, like you see
I've been
these
training
LA
my
moms,
whole life for this.
You're like, you're gonna break in half. But like, I got wide hips. I've been eating pork tenderloin sandwiches since I was a baby. Like, I am ready to give birth. Okay, so I've won you over on Indy, and then I'm gonna see if like my parents can come down, and I've got a couple hundreds in my purse. I feel like I could really make this happen today.
I like the idea of like.
How much would it cost for you?
The money was for me. I thought it should be.
No, for you.
Oh, well, in that case, I'm for sale.
Here we are.
It's on the grill.
Okay.
This mac and cheese is like, my family will fight over the last bite of this. This is legendary.
Oh my God. You were not kidding. This is out of control.
Jewish penicillin. This is the right
Jewish
food
penicillin.
for snow.
Yes. Oh, so hot.
Isn't it hot? That's a hot ball.
How do I bite this?
You can.
I feel like
Man up.
You gotta get your Indiana mouth. How you got Thousand Island under your armpit?
Oh, the pastrami.
Wow.
This is a Shapiro's classic. So we've got carrot cake, a layer of cheesecake,
No.
carrot cake, cream cheese frosting.
What? Where has this been all my life?
This has been in Indianapolis. That's why
Wow.
you had to come here. Okay. You do need to sort of
This is a
unhinge your. Everything is tall. Everything is
Tall
Rick
food.
Smith's.
Do I have anything on my face?
No. Now you're a Hoosier.
Now we're cooking.
this is decadent. That's
Yeah.
the word. I don't know if I want to stay in Indiana, but I do want to stay here at Shapiro's.
Okay, that's a
So
win.
like,